All right, there we go. Much better, much better. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Creditor Academy and your gateway into the private. Thank you for being patient with me as I got some of my background and my camera stuff ready because this is a new image here for Creditor Academy. We are expanding to new heights. We are doing things that are innovative and different in this movement. And what I'm here to talk to you guys about today is really about unlimited credit and what we do here at the Academy to show you step by step on how we do things here. That I think is a little bit different. So I want you to go ahead, sit back, relax, listen to this presentation as I go through it, because really I want to get to the meat of the issue. And the meat of the issue is that everyone has their own vision. There is nothing more important than the vision. The vision is the foundation by which you are going to operate in the private. And vision could be many of different things. It's really how you want to operate in commerce. And let me tell you why that's so important. It's so important because your energy and your time is limited and of great value. A lot of people, I remember when I was in healthcare, people would say, oh, I got 80, 90 years of a lifetime of energy. And then I walk into the room and they're literally lying down on the bed. They can't move. They're incapacitated. Their joints hurt. Everything hurts and stuff like that. And they're taking a bunch of pills. It really gives you a perspective when people say, oh, I got a lot of time here on earth. But you have a very limited time on how much energy that you have, both in the mind and the body and the soul, right? The soul is the hardest energy to kill. It goes all the way until you officially expire. But I want to talk to you about how we conserve this energy into your vision that contributes to your vision for your family and your community, and how unlimited credit comes into that, and how Creditor Academy is trying to do it differently, change the game with it. So in order for us to really change the game, we got to start at the very beginning here on how it is that we got entrapped into this matrix that we're living in the first place. The first thing that you got to realize from the matrix is that it got involved with your infancy. You see, they took your energy, they took your time, and they commercialized it into a piece of paper. Oh, the birth certificate. You already know where I'm going with that. Where we're going with this is that basically the birth certificate is a contract with the state, with the banking cartel. If you go back post-Civil War, we're talking about the 14th Amendment. We're talking about how the commercial banking system got into power in 1933, how the Rockefellers absolutely destroyed our country with high inflation rates and really taking our gold and silver and exchanging it for monopoly money. But first of all, I want to really break down to you. Hey, by the way, great to see everybody in the chat. Hold on, I got to address that. Elizabeth, hello. Steven, hello. JS Gold, always good to see you, my friend. Oh, firefighter. Absolutely. Logan, good to see you as well. If you have questions or comments, please leave them inside the chat because we're going deep today in what it is that we're talking about. I'm trying to keep it simplified and high level. We go much deeper inside of the academy as we break this down, but I'm going to take this piece by piece. So we're going into the first degradation, Infinity. Great to see you. We're going to the first line of your credit journey, or how this credit system matrix was then put together. All right, so first of all, they went ahead and commercialized us. This is where the straw man comes in. The straw man really is just an extension of the birth certificate, of your commercial energy. So the straw man is utilized for your contracts, and it's often the social security number that's attached to the birth certificate. They're really not two separated. They're actually of one. They are two separate documents, and they have a lot of, their own meanings behind them. But for simplicity, the birth certificate along with the social security card create the straw man. Now, what do I mean by the straw man? The straw man is really the representation of the commercialized version of you. And the commercialized version of you is a representation of your energy. It's just a business. It's a business. At the end of the day, it's all commerce is, and all contract law that revolves around is in business. Okay? So they want to do business with you. But here's the catch. You see, our founding fathers set up this nation for us to be free, for us to not be enslaved by any other foreign corporation like the British Crown did when we were first getting set up. So what happened is they said, hey, in order for us to get control of these free people that are in the United States, the only thing that we can get control of is if we contract into our jurisdiction once again. And that's where the plot thickens. That's where I'm like, oh man, it's going next level. So how they do that is they go ahead and take your social security number, which is like the EIN number for your business. Think of it like that, high level. They take that EIN number and you have to put it down for every contract, every bit mortgage, every car loan, everything that you do for your children when you register them with the state, when you enroll them into school, when you go into school, everything like that. That social security number becomes your commercial business transaction for the exchangement of your energy for lines of credit. That's really how it works. So how does this hurt us? Well, it hurts us because our founding fathers created a system, meaning the three commercial the three laws that help us, the constitutional law, the common law, and contract law. They created a way to where we could make our own straw man unlimited. So people back then were independent. They were not reliant upon the states. They were not reliant upon the federal government until we finally brought in the Constitution. So we had a more organized form of a society. And actually, we gave the state and the federal government more control. But this control, there was an exchangement, is that we, the people, were in control of the state over the federal government, and the federal government over the artificial entities. And the only thing that was above we, the people, was God. So I want you to get that hierarchy down. If you want to know this movement, if you want to get out of the matrix, if you truly want to be free, just know the hierarchy first. God, we the people over the state over the federal government over the artificial entities. Okay? So why is it set up this way? Well, it's set up this way because the state has the ultimate control over their jurisdiction. And the federal government is supposed to support the states. And the federal government gets money and funding just like the state gets money and funding. Okay? How the state gets funding is they have their own version of taxes and tolls or whatever it is they charge the people. And the federal government has their own taxes. Now, here's the thing. In the United States, the way that the federal government gets a large portion, almost all of their money, almost all of it. Now, is there other ways? Absolutely. But a majority of it comes from us. But who is us? Is it we the people? They're getting it from we the people? No, they're not. We're not. Because, and again, this is not legal advice. I'm not a tax professional or whatever. But what they originally set up is that the federal government can only get funding from businesses, from artificial entities. That's how the federal government gets funded. So think about this. We, the people, individuals, were supposed to be exempt from these charges, okay? They created an artificial entity through the birth certificate and the social security number that was assigned to us, and that is a business. We identify as ourselves as the business, and we fill out forms to admit that we are the business, and thus the federal government has jurisdiction over artificial entities. All businesses are artificial entities. So you see how we positioned ourselves lower on the hierarchy, on the totem pole? You see how they contracted us to admit that we're under their jurisdiction, right? Now let's go a little bit deeper with this. It wasn't just an artificial entity of the birth certificates, SSN, and all that got us into this situation. No. It goes one layer deeper. What they did, the banking cartel, and this, deep web of royal families, royal bloodline families that, go so deep into conspiracy of control and freaking, demonic, royal families that came into being and power. What they did was, before they set up this great deception, is they created an artificial entity under the de jure federal government. And these artificial entities was called the United States Corporation. The United States Corporation. The birth certificate, the SSN, and all this stuff is underneath this fake corporation. So we're not only under the federal government as it relates to entities, but we are considered entities under another entity. We're the bottom feeders. We're literally on the bottom of the ocean floor on how low it is. And this is why you see your rights being trampled on. This is why when you go to court or deal with traffic tickets or see inflation or anything like that, it's getting so bad because you're below an artificial entity. Can you imagine that? You're like, it's the lowest form of scum ever, right? And so when I have consultations with thousands of people over the last year, this last year, I literally most situations that people were in was not because they did anything inherently wrong, but because they signed on the dotted line their straw man, their liability, their corporation that was under the corporation. I can help anyone, as long as you don't contract into it. After you contract into it, it's difficult to get help. It really is. And you got to know that contract, and everybody's contract is different, and there's a different situation. There's no silver bullet for every given situation. That's why I don't like the discussion of the 1099s and I got this and that, blah, blah, blah. It goes so much deeper than that. I'm here to be honest with you. There's a time and a place for everything, but there is, to this day, not a silver bullet for every given situation, right? Because there's different jurisdictions and circumstances. So how does Creditor Academy help with this? How do I get you to be free from the system, not liable to exchange your energy, and not be overtaxed on top of it? And most importantly, how do I protect you from future exploitation for the next contract or presentment that's put onto your desk? And you know what? The answer is very simple. It's so simple. It's so powerful. And if 90% of people did this one thing, I'm here to tell you, we would see everybody addicted to the private path, and we would see such a difference in how the system is put together. And that is simply to be said, don't contract. Don't sign that agreement in the first place. Create your own straw man, your own artificial entity to go in front of you and sign those agreements. That makes sense? Wait a minute. So oh my God, just don't put my SSN on it. Put an entity that I own and control in my place? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. It's really the simplest solution. And that by starting everyone out with you controlling your own straw man, I could help you out with any given situation because you're not liable in the first place. So now we have to ask ourselves the question, okay, Paul Michael, since this is the answer, what's the first step, or what's the best entity or straw man for me to control without this inherent liability? I'm glad you asked, because that's what this presentation is all about. For you to go understand what we do here at the Academy, for you to be able to really grasp what the steps are in an organized fashion, so then there's no demystification. So first of all, if you really want to sink into what I'm saying, go to www.creditoracademy.com. I'm going to put it in the chats. Creditoracademy.com. And I'm going to go to questions too. So I want to see your guys' interaction. Yeah, Logan. Those are just so low on the totem pole, Logan. I know. He's like, geez. So low. So the totem pole, or the plan at Creditor Academy, what we're trying to do is to put you back into your natural position under We the People. So God over we the people over the state over the federal government over the artificial entities. We're trying to bring you to down here to up here as quickly as possible. That is the goal of Creditor Academy. That is it. To put you back into the highest form of authority in this country. So I'm going to explain how we do that. So the first thing is we have to go to our formal school years. I remember in the third grade, it was exactly the third grade. I was at Concordia Lutheran School. That was a private school in Tacoma that I was a part of. I went to private Lutheran school like my whole entire life. And I remember in the third grade, this was the first time ever, I don't know if schools still do this, they taught me about how to write a check. And I remember, okay, you gotta write your name and what's this for, put the memo line, who it's to, who it's from, and the amount and all of that. And I remember after that, I didn't get any more financial literacy after that. Good job, you know how to write a check. Great. And I was like, okay, what else are we going to learn? Yeah, it's good. Just go into algebra. And he's like, okay. So algebra is going to help me manage my life? No. It's good to know the numbers, though. Man. Oh, so we didn't get any financial literacy as it relates to the current system that we're in. The current system that we're in is a debt trap. It's a debt trap. And so the debt trap, the goal of the debt trap and the purpose of school is to teach you to be obedient, to repeat and obey the teaching authority inside of the classroom, and to meet deadlines, right? As long as you stay within that realm of understanding and not to free think, but just to follow direction, then you're going to get rewarded with a gold star, which is just the most slap in the face, isn't it? That you go in, you do all this work, you obey and follow the rules to a T, And the exchangement is you get in massive debt and they just put a little gold star and a little A plus on your little piece of paper. And they told you, congratulations, you can now work at McDonald's. You can now, all this high school years, so then you can work a minimum wage freaking job. It's crazy. So this is, isn't that crazy? Man, it's next level. So what we're doing here is we're trying to show you how to get out of that, because as soon as that you're in this rat race and you're this 9-to-5 job bumping and grind over and over, they've now made you a slave within the matrix. Okay? Because now you don't have the education to set yourself free now that you know about the credit system. So what's the second thing that we need to do? It's back to that artificial entity. Okay? If we create an artificial entity and have it into your place to sign all of your contracts, not only will that resolve the majority of people's problems, but the second thing it will do is it'll allow you to take more risks. It'll allow you to take more risks. You see, when you go through your schooling, you go and get a job, a 9-to-5 job, you might get to a certain point in your career where you're just like, you know what? I feel like starting a business. I feel like I want to spread my wings and I have a vision in my mind, a passion in my mind, and I want to go ahead and try to make this happen. So you might take a risk. And so since your formative schooling years didn't teach you financial fiscal responsibility and about the credit system that we're in, what happens is that you end up taking what's inside your piggy bank and a personal line of credit, because that's all you did in college, right? Just fill out personal credit cards. You got to survive in college, right? You need a personal credit card. I remember my first day of college, there was an application sitting on my desk. It was wild. And then it was like, get a credit card because, how are you going to survive, right? So now you got this personal credit cards. You have a little savings account. And you're going to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to go put myself out there and I'm going to invest in my dream. And I'm going to go to the state, just like I did. I went to Washington State. And I was like, I want to register my business. I want your entity. And you know what Washington State does? You're like, oh, yeah, right there. Contract right here. Sign right here, Michael. You're under my freaking jurisdiction, man. I was creating an artificial entity that was licensed. I want you to think about that. Licensed. What does license mean? It means you don't own it. You just have temporary permission to utilize it or to possibly benefit from it. We have a license for fishing. We have a license for our dogs and cats. We have a license for driving. We have a license for our business. We have a license. Everything's a license now. And it's screwing us because we have to apply for their rules to basically be regulated. And what's so interesting is on this totem pole I'm talking about, God over we the people over the state over the federal government over the artificial entities, and our artificial entity that's over us, right? Now we're creating another artificial entity that's still below the U.S. corporation. But what's a slap in the face is we don't even own the artificial entity that we created. Still, the state owns it. You imagine not paying your state filing fees, your state taxes on your business, or abiding by the statutory regulations of that business license? What happens? You lose the whole thing, right? So not only are you now starting a new business venture with your own personal credit, which is your personal liability, and you're taking out all of your savings in your savings account from your 401k, but now you're putting it all into a entity that you don't even own. I mean, this is such an oxymoron. Like, jeez. Just screw me more. You see the picture You see the picture? Just how this is rotating? God. Oh, geez. I would laugh if it wasn't so sad. Jeez. So what happens is now you invest in that vision. Now I know people that are super successful at their vision. They registered their business with the state. They're not in the private. They haven't learned about this movement. And you know what? They make millions and millions of dollars every year. I have really good personal friends here in Seattle that do exactly that. And actually, maybe even many of you have friends, family members, or business acquaintances that have the same thing, right? You see that these individuals are successful and they follow the rules just like everybody else. So why the pushback? Why would this be important to you or to someone else when you see so many other people do it? Well, let me tell you why. Let me bring it all together. In business, anything can happen. There is no such thing as a guarantee in business. And when you're in business, anything can happen, not only with your customer base, your product, your services, with the economy. But I think the bigger thing that really woke everybody's eyes up to what's going on is that a lot of people realize that the government, especially after COVID-19, had way more control than we ever imagined. COVID-19 changed the very meaning of the American dream. Because even if you did everything right, worked as hard as you possibly could, was financially responsible, putting your personal credit and your savings in the right places, was good to your employees, and brought your vision to life, the government could come in at any instant and say, sorry, you're no longer essential to society. You are no longer what we believe a viable or a necessary product or service for society. You have to shut your business down. And if you don't shut your business down, then we will get into your business and send police officers to your front door to force shut you down. Or we're going to make it so that everybody in your community around you, through social manipulation, views you as a adversary or a negative. And what we're going to do is we're going to send the most dangerous mobs and gang members into your community to destroy your business based off of a political agenda that's supported by George Soros. Well, shit. How free are you really? This is why the private is so important. This is why we need to wake up to what's going on in the world. This is why we need to make a change, not only for our futures financially, but honestly, just for our security. This is ridiculous. And I know that COVID's over, and it's like when you took off the mask, you wanted to be like, oh, I don't even want to remember that. I don't even want to revisit, rethink, or re-talk about what they did to us because it was such an uncomfortable 2.5 years of my life. And I just want to move on, move into today, and bury that in my past, and that's it. But we can't, man. If we don't learn from what happened in COVID-19, dude, they're going to get us harder next time. That was just a test run. The next one that comes in, that's going to be a lifelong imprisonment. It's not I don't even know if it's going to be a mass thing or not, or a virus or whatever it is. But the same principle is going to apply. They're going to put their thumb over us or the boot over our heads in order to really compound that they are in control. And I want to let you know that it does not have to be that way. I want to let you know that it does not take years of studying to avoid a situation like this again. I want to let you know that there's not only hope for your vision and what you want to do for your family or your community, but there's true hope in being free. And it is exactly what I'm telling you is that the fastest, easiest way for you to get into the private and for you to be free is to make sure that you do not contract yourself into their jurisdiction, into their authoritative control. It's really that simple. The highest form of law in business and in commerce is called contract law. There is no higher law than that. So the first thing that we do at Creditor Academy is we teach you how to own nothing but control everything. And owning nothing means that we remove the liability. Ownership means liability. Hey, who's the owner of this restaurant? I slipped and fell in the middle of your restaurant. There was a wet floor with no wet floor sign. Who's responsible? Who's the owner? I'm going to sue you for every dollar and penny that you got. Ownership is liability. So instead of that person calling you out and saying you're responsible for the damages, they then look over and say, no, it's not me. It's this artificial entity. And this artificial entity is not owned by me in any way. I just control it, and it's not registered with the state. It is what is called unincorporated. And the entity that is the first thing we teach here at the Academy is called an unincorporated business trust. What the huh? What's that, Paul Michael? What are you talking about? An unincorporated business trust, or also known as an unincorporated association. It's also known as a constitutional trust. It's also known as a common law trust. It's also known as a Massachusetts trust. It's also known as a contract trust. It's also known as a pure trust. It goes by many names. It goes by many, many names. And honestly, the name doesn't matter. What you need to know is how it helps you, where you can learn about it, and how you can utilize it to your advantage immediately, so then you can start using this entity to contract with organizations, mortgages, car loan companies, and so on, and not with others. Okay, what's going on with my feed? Let me double check that. Okay, so how does this go about? Okay, so now we're getting into, first of all, American jurisprudence. Where is my American jurisprudence? And here it is. Okay, this is American jurisprudence, okay? Which is all about business trusts, okay? This is American Jurisprudence, 2nd edition, volume 13, okay? There's newer versions, but I'm pulling this out for right now. So American Jurisprudence is the foremost, I want you to think of it like For Dummies. You ever heard of the For Dummies series? Remember For Dummies? Algebra for Dummies. Lawn trimming for dummies, like the Dummy series. It's yellow. It's got the goofy looking guy on it. He's like a stick figure. American jurisprudence is the For Dummies of case law. Did you know that? Isn't that amazing? And they have a bunch of different subjects. They have like hundreds of subjects, okay? And these subjects that they cover is, honestly, it would fill this entire back wall, okay? But if you just look at one of their volumes, which is this volume, the business trust volume, it talks about everything that you need to know about business trusts. Okay, so what it does is, I'll give you an example, is it always starts with the case law that's down here. Okay, there's the case law. And here's the For Dummies section. The For Dummies section just gives you an overview. That's all it does. It just says, hey, this is what it means. And I'm here to summarize it in plain English terms so that you can easily understand it. That's why I love American jurisprudence. You know, it's so great. It's all the case law for dummies. So you grab your case law for dummies and you start reading. You know, you may want to read into this, but this is what we cover here at Creditor Academy and Masterclass. It's your foundation. Now, business trusts are protected by three main laws, which is constitutional law, common law, and contract law. Okay? Constitutional law is specific to the United States. Second, common law is common to the whole entire world. Business trusts are accepted because of common law in 180 different countries. And then finally, contract law. The contract law comes in because it's an agreement between a grantor, a trustee, and a beneficiary. Now, let me kind of demystify this. I'm going to keep it real simple, high level, not going too deep with it, okay, for understanding. But I want you to think about the state, okay, in a corporation. The state's like, can you register with me? Sure. And then I want you to think of the private. We're going to mirror both of them, okay? In the state, when you register with the state, a business, there's usually a CEO or president of a business. There's a board of directors, and then there's shareholders, right? And the CEO or president runs the everyday operations. The board of directors give the vision and the direction of the company and also try to get them funding. And the shareholders are the ones that provide the funding to the board of directors. And then the board of directors figure out where that funding goes. Okay? Now, the shareholders and the board of directors, they're in what's called a partnership. Did you know that? They're in a partnership. What kind of partnership are they in? They're in a, hey, I'll give you money. You make the company successful. If the company's successful, then you scratch my back and give me some money back on my investment. And the board of directors are like, oh, well, cool. That's awesome. I'd be so about it. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, well, do that another time. Decline. So there's that. Now, we're on the business trust side, it mirrors the public. So there is a grantor, there's trustees or a board of trustees, and then there's a beneficiaries. It's exactly the same positions. CEO, grantor, board of trustees, board of directors, beneficiaries or shareholders. The difference between the two is simply this, is that with the business trust, the board of trustees and the beneficiaries are not in a partnership. They're not. It's the board of trustees' responsibility to act in the best interest of the beneficiaries. You know, you're like, hey, this is just a job for me. I'm just doing my best so then you have a great inheritance and I get paid for my work. Why this is so significant is because by having this difference between a partnership and an association is really what it is. It's not a partnership, it's an association. You get tax benefits like you wouldn't believe. You get liability protections unlimited. By being unincorporated, you're not contracting with the state. By having the Constitution, common law, and contract law on your side, you have the strongest force of protection out of all entities that are out there. And what you're going to find is when you read American jurisprudence, all you're going to see in this case law, in these Supreme Court decisions, you're going to see J.P. Morgan in here. You're going to see the Rockefellers in here. You're going to see the biggest names that we talk about in the conspiracy movement all the time, all right in this document. So now begs you the question, right? Wait a minute. Did they create this entity so then we have to play by their rules with the registration of the state, but they don't have to? Yeah, exactly. You got it. So what we do is at Creditor Academy, as part of Masterclass, is it's our first objective to get you into the private as fast as possible. What we do is we give you a declaration of trust document. A declaration of trust document, is kind of like a mirror of articles of organization for a normal business. I hope this is not getting too complicated. Chat, give me some feedback if this is getting too complicated. I want to make this as light and as fun as possible. I want to help you out in understanding this. Okay? Sounds about right. Okay, Courtney, thank you for that. Fantastic. JS Gold, did they create this entity for us to play the rules when we don't even have to? Yep, exactly. JS Gold, you have great notes. So, you have these articles of organization, you have this declaration of trust. So what I do is I provide you the template for the declaration of trust, and we provide you the education. I'm going to get more into the education of what it is that I'm talking about here in a moment. Okay? Awesome. YouTube verse, thank you. Okay, great. So, okay, so now you got these two things. So all we do is we fill out this declaration of trust document, and I share with you my personal template that I have for a minute. Now, I'm not here to blow smoke up your butt at all, because I've been doing business trust for almost 7 years now. 7 years, super long time. And back then, I used to buy a bunch or get a bunch of free declaration of trust documents. I would go on like scribed.com. I went on Google. I talked to other organizations and they gave me like a business trust template and stuff like that. I have used many business trust templates, but when I had me and my attorneys 7 years ago, when I was doing the healthcare licensing for home care businesses in the United States, I sat down with my attorneys. I was like, you know what? I want to create my own business trust template, because most of them are not very thorough, or maybe not, it doesn't have what I want inside of it that's specific enough. So most business trust declaration of trust documents are maybe 1 to 2 pages at most, okay? And mine is like 9 pages, maybe 6 to 9 pages, okay? It is so thorough. I'll show you what it looks like. It's right here. So here's the EIN number. Let me take that off. And here's what it covers. I'll try to read this as closely as I possibly can. Let me read it and then I'll show it to you. But what I cover in my recitals is the general declaration, the domicile and jurisdiction, the trustees, the meeting of the board trustees, the power of trustees, the legal title, the litigation, the limitations of liability, no personal liability, really outline that, beneficial enjoyment, administration expenses, trust accounting, trust bond, charitable contributions, duration, deadlocks and or disagreements, records, officers and management, banking, get into negotiable instruments in there, merger, consolidation of sale of assets, ascertainable standard for distribution, spendthrift provisions, gotta have a spendthrift, certificates of beneficial interest, third parties, insurance, restrictions, notices, death insolvency, bankruptcy creditors, acknowledgments of creators, then a signature notary, then you got your schedule A, B, C, your trustee acceptance, and your trustee resignation. Now, you don't have to memorize that, but I really want to show that this is a very thorough document. It's not that thick at all. Like I said, it's maybe like 6 to 9 pages long, but it's really nice because you only need one template for the rest of your life. I made this so then you can, when I made this, I was sitting down with my attorneys when we were putting this together, because this is supposed to mirror American jurisprudence. This mirrors it, right? all the laws inside of there. And they said, what is the objective of this template, sir? What do you want to accomplish? And I said, one, I want it to be the fastest, easiest template anybody has ever used with no confusion. And number two is I want the power to being Pharaoh, equal to being Pharaoh over Egypt. Okay? Pharaoh, when he's appointed Pharaoh over Egypt, what power and control does Pharaoh not have? Nothing. Within Egypt, nothing. But in other countries and jurisdictions, he doesn't have control. That's his only limitation. So anything within Pharaoh's domain of Egypt, he could do whatever he wants with. So that's how we set it up with this business trust, to make it so thorough that you have access and the capability to own nothing but control everything. It is an irrevocable trust. What does that mean? Revocable versus irrevocable. All business trusts are irrevocable. All of them. There's no such thing as a revocable business trust. Okay? They're all irrevocable. And that's how you get all those benefits. That means that whatever is in this document and whoever's name's written inside of here after it gets notarized, it can never change. Never, ever, ever, ever change. Takes an act of Congress to change an irrevocable trust. That's how powerful that is. An act of Congress. You think, wouldn't it be nice to be like, oh yeah, you want to stop me? Look, I love to talk to Congress. I want to tell Nancy Pelosi quite a few things. Can I talk to her? That old bat. I have a few things to say too. So it's irrevocable. So nothing in it can be changed. So if you're just like kind of nervous about that, I'm like, Michael, nothing can be changed, then, I'm kind of worried that if it can't be changed, then what am I agreeing to? You're agreeing to be Pharaoh over Egypt. That's how much power I give you inside this business trust. There's nothing you cannot do. You can break contracts, you can buy, you can sell, you can reconvey, you can do so many different things, right? Your absolute power, okay, within this business trust over the property or anything that's inside of it. So what this does is it simplifies your journey. As part of Masterclass, we really do four things. I want you to go to www.creditoracademy.com. And I want you to look at the four things on the homepage of our website. Number one is to become a member, to be a part of our community. I want you to not only be in the private, but I want you to connect with other like-minded individuals. Your journey starts when you can connect with others that are like-minded. We have live classes Monday through Friday. I have another one coming here in like 10 minutes, so I got to wrap this up. But you're joining the movement, you become a member to join the movement and get access to the world of private education and your financial freedom. The second thing that we have is we give you what's called a creditor card. We have a creditor card, okay? You step into our private economy, we teach you about credits and whatnot, and we actually give you a creditor card once you create your account. This unlocks access to a wealth of opportunities reserved for members only and a bunch of high-quality educational courses as well, which is the step number 3, unlock courses and connect. Instantly access our premium courses, join daily live master classes, and a private network of like-minded achievers like yourself, so you can learn and grow and collaborate together. And then finally, step number 4 is to become private. You take control of your sovereignty. You apply what you learn to live free, operate privately, and build wealth on your own terms. This is the freedom formula of the Academy, okay? Creditor Academy has 94 full-time staff. 94. It's a lot. We have 21 instructional designers. We have our own software platform, which is an amazing software platform. We've been building it for the last 9 months. Custom, we have over 40 software developers on staff. We have educational counselors and all that. And what I'm going to do later on today is I'm going to really give you guys the difference between us at Creditor Academy and a lot of the other organizations that you can choose that are there. Because really at Creditor Academy, we focus on education. We don't focus on PDFs and templates. To really quickly summarize it, it goes like this. We at Creditor Academy do not have the luxury of recommending 100 books when we're doing education. Education is a very systematic step-by-step, right? You got your foundational courses, your intermediate courses, your advanced courses, and then you have what's called street smarts, meaning your instructor, like myself, give you real world examples that you cannot learn in a book. This is book smarts, and then we have a street smart. Okay, this is what I've personally been through. These are the things that I had to do to overcome. And so even though you learn the foundational steps, we got that. Every course is step by step to start with your foundations, bring you to intermediate, to go to advanced. So everything is nicely organized that way. Now, I do not set up education programs. I know very few YouTubers who know how to set up an educational program, myself included. So what makes me different is, and our organization is, I focused on what I know, but I've brought in instructional designers to put together what I know in a format for you to compound the information. Okay, that's why we have videos. We have immersive reader, which basically means all the material reads to you. We have little modules and lesson plans to bring you along in the high course of your time. Because in the end, this is not about me. This is not about my team. This isn't about anything but you. I mean, in the end of the day, you have to want badly enough to go into the private. You got to want badly enough to complete your vision. You got to want bad enough to spend your time, the limited time that you have, and the energy that you have available into something that's going to progress you into being free. And you have a lot of options that are out there from other great patriots that I personally talk to all the time that are super, super smart and intelligent that talk about this. But it's not about us teaching you. It's about how do we get you to your goal as soon as fast as possible. And in my opinion, for me, when I was going through this learning journey, I don't learn very well when I'm told that I have to just submit templates that I don't understand to federal and state agencies. I don't do well when I'm told to read hundreds of books or read that book and read this book without a structured step-by-step program. I don't learn best by just reading alone or by watching videos alone. I learn best by being able to ask questions and get real answers on a regular basis. I learn best when I'm doing a movement of learning how to get into the private by not having to do it alone and actually have other classmates who are ahead of me that can teach me or I could collaborate with on any given situation and be able to progress and move forward. These are some of the things that we offer here at the Academy. We have so many more on top of it, but it's because I really do care, and my team cares, that you get quality education and that there is a means to an end. Do you ever stop learning in life? Absolutely not. There's always something new to learn, and that's kind of the spice of life. But what we want to focus on is your foundation. We want you to get to be a point where you become private, reestablish yourself under we the people within the hierarchy. We want you to be able to operate privately so you can use entities to free you from future liability. And finally, I want you to have what's called financial freedom. We want to teach you the credit game and the matrix system that they didn't teach you in school so that you can optimize your ability to reach your vision. This way you don't have to touch your personal credit. You don't have to touch what's in your piggy bank. You can utilize the bankers in order to fund your vision for you, just like the Rockefellers and all the other big names do. So I'm really glad that you could be here, part of this brief introduction here at Creditor Academy. And I want to give you an invitation, okay? If you go to our website, www.creditoracademy.com, this Saturday, we have a non-member orientation. This is on the homepage of our website. Go to the very bottom. And this non-member orientation, I want to meet you. I want to talk to you. I want to know about who you are, what your journey is, and what your vision is. And I want to just have this conversation in a group of other non-members. And I want us to all see if we can find some common ground and put a plan together in order for you to accomplish your vision and dream. This is all about you. If you don't want to come and join Creditor Academy, that's fine. If you want to just come in for a short period of time and then leave, that's okay. I really believe in checking things out and being able to ask questions before you commit to something, because this is a serious commitment. I mean, it is. To go into the private and where you choose to go to school, just like it was for me in my high school and college years, is an investment of finances as well as your time and energy. And that's a serious decision to do that. And you should be very mindful about where you spend that, because we have very limited amount. But if you're hearing what I'm saying today and you're passionate about the private, this ignites a fire in you where you want to go ahead and learn more and join this community and see what we're all about, I'd be so excited to see you this Saturday and to invite you to our masterclass membership. We have educational counselors that are here to get you signed in and signed up. And every day, and especially in the next 2 minutes, I have a master class where I go through all the steps to get into the private. Please read what we have on our website for exactly that. And I'd be so excited to see your success. Once again, I'll put inside of the chat, www.creditoracademy.com. And I'll see you guys on the private side. Oh, I'm pumped. I love to get your energy. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So until then, everybody, please take care of yourselves and your loved ones. And I will see you maybe later on today for my next live. Until that, where I could go a little bit deeper. All right. Now I end this.